How do we get rid of thought loops of your first love, girlfriend? We had dated for 4 years. Then she left me for another guy. Okay. How do I get rid of thought loops? So basically, he was in love with a girl, so that she completed love means she completed every feminine experience in your mind of the anima. She is your angelic being, which the object should be separated from her, right? Shouldn't be, right? The other girls can fit that niche. For example, I give this example like you. It's so hard to miss the love of your life in front of a girl who's hotter than her. You still miss her, but you put it in the back burner as you're talking to the new one. But anyway, so I'm talking about abundance, right? But how do you get rid of thought loops of your first love? We dated for 4 years. Then she pretty much did I think there's nothing worse that could happen besides finding out the kid's not yours, but she left me for another guy. So I'm going to say Wi-Fi in chat who asked this question is absolutely fucking shattered, because I know guys who they dump a bitch and they still feel like jealous even years later, right? Over whatever she's got going on. But this guy says she literally said, I'm done with you. The next day, she's with a different dude, and this haunts him, thought loops everywhere he sees her. And he's in the highest level of fucking despair, because when I read that question, before we giggle and laugh, we all get that, the tremors. Like, chat, one in the chat, if when I read that question, men have this ability to empathize, not because they're good people, because you feel it happening to you. Even if it didn't happen to you, you feel it. And because it's just like, there's no worse psychic pain than her leaving you for the next guy. But I'm going to answer it quickly. There's nothing more beautiful than if the guy is a successful badass, because then you have this rocket launching pad and you become him. Even if you don't want to, you do. I still remember being cooked. That guy had a mustache, tattoos, badass, said what he wanted, had money, didn't have a job, drug dealer. And then I literally became that fucking guy that fucking cooked me, right? So there's this thing that happens that if you get cooked by someone who's a fucking monster, like winner at everything, as much as it hurts, it is a reminder that you stole her box because you told her you're that badass, but you weren't that badass. You lied so you could keep touching her. You're a fucking loser bitch for that. You didn't get your life together like everyone else. Not everyone else, just the top 10% of society that want to make it, that want to avoid this. But you lied to her. You used her for 4 years. Bam, bam. As she had anxiety. She's like, oh my God, he's not going to take care of me. He's just a regular guy and stuff. And then the worst happened. She suffered for years with you, only thinking about, did I get the right guy? Are my kids going to be safe? That's all she's thinking about. And you lied to her because the guy who doesn't lie to her, it doesn't really happen to him. And I know this is like zherka. This doesn't sound like you. You always blame the woman, and yeah. Unless I'm giving advice. If I'm giving advice, it's everything is your fault. Everything. If a bitch leaves you, 99.9% your fault. Do you know how I know? Because you only fantasize of repeating that relationship the right way, where you're killing it in life. You never fantasize repeating that relationship in your dusty fucking bitch-ass apartment and everything that you didn't have. When you reimagine it, you go, man, I should have been doing this. I should have been doing that. I should have been jacked. I should have been. That I should have been says you stole her purity in front of God, lying to her, manipulating her that you deserve it, and she had enough. And you know what's funny? As much as you want to say, no, bitch is a hoe, bitch is a hoe, if she was your daughter, you would have never let her date you. And you know that. If she was your daughter, you'd have been like, that guy's a fucking dweeb. And I know this from personal experience, where I always had this like resentment, where it's like, yeah, I screamed at the bitch because we're talking about you. We have to pay this bill and blah, 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 and that. But in my head, I'm thinking like, how come I don't have those problems today? Because I got money, bitch. I got everything I need. That's why they're stuck with me, right? But if I didn't do the hard work, and I'm just gonna, I'm playing. Oh yeah, keep bouncing on me. Really? You think that's how life's gonna go? Where you go do a fucking minimum wage shit job and you get to just play, and God is watching you play for fun, and God's like, I gave you all this psychic potential, and you're just an average Joe. What? And it's never been easier to be a superstar. There's the fucking internet, right? But when you put all the weight of the world's shoulders on yourself, you actually go to the next level, become the next dude. But I'll tell you this, we don't know if your mental capacity is going to go for 1 month of hating yourself or years. That's the scary part. But there has to be a process where you say, she's not a hoe. She wasn't a hoe for 4 years with you. You gave her this phantom idea that you're the man for years, and that idea was declining because you were having so much fun. Just, I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm going to make less money. This is so much fun. I'm going to stay home with her. That is the grossest, disgusting, vile human being that if you could rewatch yourself, if you were her father and said, wait, that year he made less money. He got more out of shape. He became more of a bitch. He started becoming more beta male. He was afraid of arguing with her and blah, 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 blah. You're literally becoming a worse person, enjoying I'm enjoying. But by the time you're done in 40 years, let's say you stuck together, you would have been the biggest beta male bitch that God has ever seen, but you wouldn't care because you'd have her. In a perfect world, you would trade your top ideal self just to bounce. Oh, this is so much fun. That is the highest level of bitch on earth. There's no higher level of bitch than so. Do you know how many people would say, in a perfect world, she'd just stay with me as a regular money-making beta? Yeah, I watched the 1950s. They did that. Did they, or did they get cheated on? They did. You have to become your potential. The laws of the universe work like this, bro. If you're not becoming, you'll never have it. I'm not saying you need to become. I'm saying you have to becoming. It has to be turning. If the river freezes, it deserves no fish. Your turn.
Wow.
So that will get 1 million hits on YouTube, right, guys?
Yeah.
Cut it there. I'll tell you this, man. How many times does a guy just wave it off as, she's a hoe? She was great for 4 years and then just a hoe. Bro, that's not how it works. There's an alchemical demoralization process happening.
What you're saying is that there's an element of phoniness there, right? That he was lying to himself and he couldn't maintain the illusion for too long. And
he was lying to God, lying to himself and to her. And what's crazy is she's still stuck around for 4 years. Right. That's I'm not saying she's a good bitch. I'm not saying take her back, but I'm saying you did the greatest deal with the devil is letting go of God's potential so you can have someone bounce on you. That's pathetic. Because that's what it is. Comfort, comfort, comfort. I'm at home. Yeah. Right? And that's really what someone who's not a millionaire. If someone's not a millionaire, it's PlayStation and bounce. This is the best life ever. And you know what's crazy? I'm not above it. I can't name one man on earth that did it the right way, besides Nick, who still hasn't been with a woman, and he became a millionaire. But for the regular, he's a genius, right? But look at just use your fucking brain. It wasn't 4 years of going up and then I lost her. It was 4 years of going up as I was losing my identity. But every man on earth will drop their identity to keep paradise. They'll just say, hey, she's a good-looking girl, and you will drop your power level to keep her. And I'll tell you this, if men could do a deal with God where they can be fat beta males who do nothing with their lives, but she still sticks around, I think most men would take that deal. That they don't like the mirror, they don't like what they see, but who cares? Cheetos and bitches. I think most men would say, okay, just leave me in the COVID lockdown with her.
Comfort there, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's all his fault. And if he's sitting next to me, there's no way he'd say, actually, every year I made more money. Every year I was better looking. Every year this was blah. I was more fit. Every year I was arguing. Every year I didn't let her have her way. Every year. No.
But I do think that
women only leave when you're soft. Women only leave when you're soft.
Later in life, right? So they're getting fleeced by women a lot of the time in adolescence and early teenage years.
But did he fleece her?
Developed by the time.
Did he cheat her? Did he cheat her? Because we always talk about the red pill guys.
Mhm.
Always talk about. I think it's useless to talk about. She's a hoe. She left me. That doesn't solve anything.
I think there must have been a lack of a projection of potential, right? She didn't pick up on a sense of potential. There was something about him that might have icked her, right? That she
He's
was
giving
trying
me
to-
the ick.
yeah.
He's not even arguing in chat. He's not even saying, actually, every year I was better.
Or
He knows he can't
the-
say that.
The other thing is that I'm surprised you haven't said this, John. They're pursuing something else, right? The purpose of that relationship was to meet some other criteria, right? To make up for something that was missing in their own childhood. I see that.
Man, that's
so
like
often.
making him that's gonna make him.
No,
think
but
a
what I'm
little
saying is that
too-
there may have been, and this doesn't say anything about intentionality or the kind of person they are, but that there was maybe it wasn't entirely sincere, right?
What?
It was a form of self-medicating, the pursuit of this relationship.
Mm. If you're
It
not
wasn't sincere.
if you're not leveling up, how could it ever be sincere?
Mm.
And I'll tell you this, bro.
Are you going to give that same advice to a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old who probably needs to have?
Now, a 12-year-old's gonna go through
such
heartbreak.
individually?
When has a 12-year-old gone through
Well,
heartbreak?
okay, maybe not 12 or 13, but let's say a teenager. Isn't that heartbreak what's needed for individuation?
Well, I would never respond to the teenager because I'd be like, there's no way around that. But 25, 30-year-old, yeah, you can avoid that.
Yeah.
Actually, you probably had it happen to you in a prototype form as a teenager.
Yes.
So why not
Ideally-
why not just cut your losses there? Why does it have to repeat after your marriage? After 4 years is
after
marriage. Yeah, 4 years is
You're
marriage.
married for 4 years?
No, it's the same thing. If you live with someone for 4 years, that's more than marriage.
Really? The Christian says that.
What marriage is a Christian marriage nowadays? Like,
You don't think that there's something fundamentally different
I've
about
never in my
a
life
4-year common law relationship?
I've never seen.
So you would say that a
I've
common
never.
law
I'll say this.
relationship has
I'll
the
say-
same validity as a marriage?
Well, scripturally, no, but in today's society, I'll say two people who live together for 4 years are much closer than a married couple that one commutes to another
except the
state for
married
3.
couple have gotten married in front of God, in front of their
No, they
entire family,
didn't.
and they
No, they
made a
didn't.
lifelong
No, they
commitment.
didn't.
They
No,
made
they
a
didn't.
lifelong vow.
No, they didn't.
In the
They
marriage.
didn't get married in front of God. No, they
Okay,
didn't.
let's remove that part of it. They still got married in front of their family. They have some commitment to each other outside of. If
There's
you get
nothing.
to fight as a
All right,
common
I'll
law
say
partner-
this. I'll say this. I've never in my life seen a non-boomer, millennial zoomer, non-boomer, so millennials and zoomers. I've never seen a Christian marriage in my life. I've never, unless we're talking about the old lady at the
Okay,
store, the old lady holding a grapefruit, the old lady holding a grapefruit at the store that talks to me. She's married, and I feel the Christian energy. But I've never met a millennial or Zoomer and said, that's in front of God. You did it correct. Like it's always been a phony.
Okay, but in theory, the idea of marriage is that you're doing it in front of God, in front of your family, and you're making a lifelong vow. There's no way you could argue that is
Yeah.
the same as a common law relationship, where the next fight that comes up could be
Okay, if it's all right,
because they have no commitment, they have no accountability to their family to make sure that the relationship.
Really? Okay, then how come the breakup has the same?
I've done a lot of
Then
relationships.
okay. Then how come the breakup of a 4-year living together versus a marriage? How come it's identical heartbreak?
I don't know what that has to do with the.
Well, you're saying
validity of
you're
marriage
saying
versus a
one is
common law
deeper.
relationship.
You're
Of
saying
course,
one-
yeah, but it could be.
So how's it
traumatic,
deeper
right?
if they no, it's the same. When they break up in high school, that's not the same as a 4-year common law. Common law 4-year and marriage.
so there's
the
differences,
breakup is a
right?
divorce.
The teenage relationship is different from the common law relationship, which is different from the marriage relationship.
All I'm saying is living with someone for 4 years is the highest level of soul tie. And this guy,
I'll be honest, the common law relationships have been, I think, one of the most damaging things for our generation
True.
and Gen Z. The
True,
most
but-
damaging. There is no commitment.
okay, I'll just say it like this.
There's
In the spiritual
There's
plane,
no
who
sense
you-
of sacrifice. It's just a sense of, okay,
Right.
I'm making you comfortable right now. You're making me comfortable and happy, and this is cute and all that.
Okay,
stuff.
but
Let's
again,
continue doing this until it stops being that way.
I
And
know-
then I'm going to move and upgrade.
no, I know you and chatters think
There's-
you're giving the Christian position here. You're not. Because check this out.
It's not a
No, it's biblical
It's-
that in the
it's-
spiritual plane, who you do it with physically is who you're married to. That's biblical. Did you know that?
Say it again.
Who you do it with, whoever you're living with, you're doing it with them. That is who you're married to in the spiritual plane. That's biblical. Did you know what I'm saying is biblical? So that's why I'm saying it's. I know that the tradition is different stuff, but in God's eyes, who you're doing this with is who you're married to, because you're not supposed to do that until you're fucking married. That's the whole point. That's why I'm saying 4 years, the same thing. It has the same psychic damage, same trauma, same everything. 4 years of him becoming a bitchier beta male while she got nothing out of it. Because you know how I know she got nothing out of it? Well, she lived with me and she didn't have to pay bills, and any guy would have provided her that. So that means you didn't provide her shit. That's why you either want to
If
be.
the relationship is only existing because you're providing something, that's not sustainable.
What the fuck? There's never been a woman in history that sticks around a guy who's not providing. Never in history.
Only if there's potential for that.
Okay, that's
They
different.
sense potential in your ability that you will be able to do that at some point. They stick.
Yeah,
around.
you're saying she gets a return on her investment. That's the same thing. She's leaving if you're not bringing in fucking the fucking bison. Anyways, I think we kind of lost here,
You
but
have the potential. You have the potential to be that hunter.
but how does he overcome this thinking about her all day?
I think the reason why they're having negative thought loops about this person is because they left them. There is that abandonment, which is obviously triggering something much deeper, or maybe there's a sense of emasculation. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we could talk about practically.
Yeah, but think about that word you just used. You say that word again. Say that word again.
Which part?
The emasculation word.
The emasculation.
Yeah. Even if she stayed, my theory is he was still feeling more. He's too afraid to answer and say if I'm right or wrong. Just answer, bro. Literally, in my theory is, even if she stayed for another 5 years, every year he was feeling less of a man, less of a man. Even if she stays, it's still the process happening. That's why they only leave you when you're weak. They don't leave you when you're on top of the fucking world.
Yeah.
But you don't know what they're going through. Maybe for them it was serving another purpose, which is the argument that I'm making. I'm saying that maybe it wasn't entirely sincere because for them it was a form of self-medicating, right? You self-medicate for some loneliness that you
Well,
feel.
Maybe not.
He said, "Yeah, you're right."
With
said,
who?
For me, he says, "Yeah, I'm right."
What did you say?
Bro, I'm telling him the greatest thing that I and a lot of people have done that they don't even realize, they can't communicate this, is the greatest thing is don't focus on her leaving you. Focus on every year. When you look at photos, and it happens, you're going to look at old photos and shit, just look in disgust of who you are becoming. That's exactly what she sensed. So for me, I look at like when I was 21 in a relationship, I look very happy. And like a
I don't know
bitch.
how else to push this. If you have a strong sense of your identity, that means that in addition to the personal identity, you have a sense of continuity in your life of where you came from, where you are, and where you're going. And ideally, in a relationship, the woman should be able to pick up on where you're going. And if she's not going to get on that train to wherever you're headed, then yeah, these things will come up.
Besides a damaged fucking hoe, completely damaged, if she's just a regular girl, they'll only cheat when they get shocked. They just get it one day that you've been cheating them of being this badass that makes money, and they find out that you're not that guy. And so when a girl cheats, it's because she got that idea that you've been cheating for years, lying to her of who you really are, when you really just play PlayStation all day. You're a fucking loser. But I'll tell you this, they feel cheated. That's why they panic. Because they go,
whoa, he's gonna. That's why they cheat.
Yeah, that's why he's not going to take care of my kids. This guy's been cheating me for years, bro. He still didn't get a job. It's been months.
I think you have to take account.
Like a normal girl,
it's very different if you have a relationship in high school where you don't know what the fuck you're doing, and an older version of yourself where ideally you should have developed a sense of identity and be able to understand the purpose that your relationship is serving. Is it a soothing?
But he wouldn't. He would, if he was the girl, he wouldn't have stayed either. And he knows that. Everyone, when I look in my previous, bro, like
we've all been through it. It's not just him. We've all been through it.
I have never been left for another fucking dude.
Even in
I have manipulation game, bro.
You've been dumped in high school.
Yeah, a little after high school, but yeah. But I'll tell you this. When I became a badass, they always came back. Now, if they rewarded me being a beta bitch, I would be just like everyone in this chat, a 300-pound
I think
bowling ball.
I think women develop socially at a much younger age. They're very good at picking up everything that you project. So if
No,
you
they're
project
not. They
something,
stay with bums
they're
for years.
infinitely smarter than we are when it comes to relationships. Infinitely. They develop
Oh, yeah.
socially at a much younger age. Men don't. Some of them never develop. They never
Yeah.
develop socially and interpersonally. They don't have
Actually,
good relationships.
you,
They
I see
run
this in
circles around us for that kind of stuff.
I
And
see
they can
this.
pick up, and we're a lot more like we project everything we're feeling much more easily
Yeah.
than they do.
I see this in
So they pick
adults.
up on that. They have antennas for that.
I used to see this at the club with married guys, and the husband would speak, and the wife
But
would give the wife would give this glare like this bitch. That my husband's such a bitch speaking, and he'd be all he'd be drunk. He'd be drunk at the club with his wife, and he'd be like, and then we did this, and then she'd just give him this glare, and then just look at me like this, and I'll just be like this, like, yeah, your man's a bitch.
Yeah.
And then I take them.
Have you seen the opposite? Have you seen the opposite where the guy is completely out of shape, doesn't do anything, talking
Nope.
like
I'll tell you this.
and the woman still has a mad respect for him and is
Never
unable
seen
to let
it.
go of this
Never
idea
seen it.
that she has.
Never.
I've seen it all
Never.
the time.
I've never seen a slob. I've never seen a fat broke slob get googly eyed from his girl. I've never seen it once.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that there are women who have an internal relationship with their husband, even if that husband hasn't been that person for decades. You know, he's like sloppy and all this stuff. They have an inner relationship.
Well, I make the argument that I make the argument that they could still stay and be faithful, but it's not genuine burning desire, meaning it's not a real relationship. Even if it's a marriage, it's she's thinking of other even bro, in the Bible it says you can cheat by looking at another person. Like it starts in the eyes. So in my head, if there's no genuine burning desire, but she's still faithful
somebody
to
like
you,
you, John, could you get out of shape and get very sloppy and gross and have a woman still be very attracted to you?
Yeah, but
you think you could
status? Yes. Hold on, no. But how
would you do that?
Status, network, a bit of looks. I'd have still a bit of looks, and
even if you lost all that, if she maintains a relationship with the idea,
then she's all
internal relationship.
Then she's only sticking around for the manipulation and the game part of it, which the game part of it is pretty much other women want me, right? Like a fat guy at Walmart who's DJ Khaled. I think his wife, there's genuine burning desire for that fat ass, but it's not at the level it should be. Like if I talk to Khaled, I'd be like,
why does she have that? Why does she have that burning desire for
status, network? He's got it all, right?
If he lost all that tomorrow?
If he lost all that and he declared bankruptcy and he's driving a Toyota, yeah, she's leaving him.
You think so?
100. Even with kids, they'll leave.
I think she has, like I'm saying, not to repeat this too many times, but she has an internal relationship with him that the external doesn't matter anymore. She has such a strong idea of and connection to the inner relationship that it doesn't matter.
But where are you seeing this? If it's like
an object relationship.
No.
Let's
say it's a 70% divorce rate, like a lot of black pill guys say, like the press guys. Where in society are you seeing them stick around?
I think it's very rare.
Yeah, it is rare. Like the only time I see a loser always getting googly eyes is he maxed out looks. Like some guys are so good looking that they could be the greatest bums on earth. And those guys, those good looking guys, some of those guys. But again, I still think if you focus on those guys who have like 100% DiCaprio looks, you're being very stupid because you're not gonna change your skull shape to become like DiCaprio. Like. I'm saying a young Leo, not the guy we found on Shutter Island.